The moral of the story that I took out of this game was do not overreact to opening drives.
Oh, yeah. When they talking about some rushing yards and da-da-da-da-da and woo-da-woo-da-woo, and I told y'all it wasn't about that. Didn't I tell y'all that?
Yeah, I mean, look, if this team's going to make it to the Super Bowl, it's going to be Lamar and Mahomes. I think everybody believes that, right? That's how you're going to get to the Super Bowl. Bo Nix is a nice, talented player.
He is.
He's not Lamar and Mahomes. There's the big understatement of the day.
Yeah, I mean, this is what everyone's been waiting for, right?
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Gentlemen, the Bills beating the Broncos 31-7, advancing on. Buffalo scoring 31 unanswered points.
That's good.
Mike, a little shaky start, but the Bills dominated after that.
You know, we were talking to Terrell Bernard afterward, and Sal Mayorana says to him, I guess if you're going to give up a touchdown, it's good to do it a few minutes in. And he was like, yeah, there's no good time to give up a touchdown like that. But it really is, because it was a bad play. They got beat. They're down 7-0. Everybody's anxious because who knows what's going to happen. They dominated the rest of the game. The defense was outstanding, as well as they've played in a long time. And then the offense, 500 yards, 200 on the ground, total domination.
Yeah, I think we want to talk about this overall game, then the individual players and plays, and we will get to the Ravens. But the moral of the story that I took out of this game was do not overreact to opening drives. Look, they are scripted, and Sean Payton can certainly script up a nice offensive series, but just relax.
I think, did it feel like there was some nervous energy
I think there was exactly what we talked about all week long with pressure, right? We talked about the pressure. I think the Bills felt a little pressure early, and the Broncos were like, who cares? Like, let's take shots.
You know, it was funny. I had a few people send messages, whether it was on Twitter or on our YouTube channel, and they were like, Bills need to take the ball on the kickoff, go down, get points, put the pressure on, pedal to the metal.
And they nailed it.
So they kick off, they give up a touchdown. They won 31-7.
I know, and they gave up the whole thing all week long. I was thinking, get off the field on third down. They give up a 3rd and 8, and I'm going, really? Like, this team hates getting off the field on third down. That was my initial reaction. But again, so much of coaching is adjustments. Sean McDermott credits, again, the coaching staff for the adjustments that they made. And after that opening drive, settled in. I thought even after the fake punt, they were able to dial it back in and get focused. Impressive stuff from the defense. The Broncos' defense or offense isn't great. Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about that. But they're a playoff caliber offense. And all week long we heard about Bo Nix and we heard about these guys. So you can't totally discredit the offense now after the Bills beat them and say, well, they weren't really that good. They're an average offense, they're a playoff offense, and the Bills dominated them.
And I think the biggest thing from this game that they can take, this Bills defense, is the confidence that comes with shutting down another playoff offense and also just having the third downs, which you know has been their Achilles heel, getting some pressure, getting the Bills getting the offense onto the field after that for the Bills. Like, I feel like there's confidence that they can take moving forward.
So we got a chance to talk to Rasul Douglas after the game. And he's always pretty good, pretty honest with what he says. So I started asking him about, hey, it was a big deal about third downs and the run game, and he's like, hold on. He starts saying something to me about what was being said. So just listen to him and the guy he brought in to help him.
I mean, wasn't y'all just talking to Ed the other day about that? How we can't stop nobody and we can't get off the grass on third down. Wasn't y'all all saying that?
It wasn't me, but it was
Hey, Ed. Pull up on me, Ed. Pull up on me real quick. Nah. That was all y'all.
Let's see what Ed has to say.
Yeah, let's see what he got to say. And what they were saying when it was interviewing you, they said that we couldn't stop nobody on third down, and we were sorry. Oh, yeah. When they talking about some rushing yards and da-da-da-da-da and woo-da-woo-da-woo, and I told y'all it wasn't about that. Didn't I tell y'all that?
Ed making a guest appearance. How about that?
Look at that.
I think that was good-natured. But you know what, Dan? I think they actually listen to what's being said about
I think
players.
they like, comment, and subscribe to Buffalo Plus. They've heard some
they share?
They heard some of the, hey, is this defense good enough to make a deep playoff run? And the one thing I took away, they played good defense today. It was average. They allowed 7 points. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't their best defensive game. Like,
Yes.
I still think they talked about it last week, Rasul Douglas specifically saying they're not peaking yet, that they felt like they haven't peaked defensively. I think you're seeing that again today, like that their average performance held a playoff caliber offense to 7 points is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like you said, there's still more to be done. And I think for a lot of fans, I know you say don't overreact to the opening drive. And I understand that. And I think it's a long game. You got to remember 60 minutes, all that stuff. But I think a lot of fans were just nervous about what things have looked like going into this game. So for them to give up the touchdown early on.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Okay.
I was going to let you finish.
Oh,
I just-
okay.
No, there was a hand motion
Yeah,
there.
so I was
There
like,
was a
oh.
The
hand
hand
motion.
motion was just to alert you that I'm not going to interrupt you, but I'm going to wait till you finish
Okay.
It
and
was
then
a
make a point.
physical interruption of like, I'm
Oh,
about
he's
to
over
interrupt.
there.
Now
The
I'm
touchdown
getting-
over there.
It's like,
Now
hey,
I'm getting
hey, I'm
the-
going to interrupt you.
No,
I
no,
won't.
no. You're right.
Precursor.
You're right.
Yes.
And that's the motion we do. So I'm sorry. What I was saying was I understand why fans get anxious. And with the playoffs, the pressure, the expectation, the fact that it could all be over after this game. But what did we say at the live podcast? What do we want the Bills to feel as they're walking off the field? Relief that they won this game, and they're moving on.
So what I was going to say was about Bo Nix, because here's this young player.
Yeah.
Converts the third down and throws a dart. He had the guy open, put perfect throw.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's running off the field. They're excited. It's 7-0, and they've got a feeling of like, okay, we can play with these guys. They can't play with these guys.
Nope.
And I did not think Bo Nix was bad in the game.
I feel like his supporting cast let him down.
Yeah, he's got talent. That kid has talent. He can run. He can make some plays. They got to get him a little more help.
I got 2 points that I want to talk about in defense, and then we can kind of transition to the offense.
Perfect.
One, a positive. Matt Milano showed flashes of being Matt Milano again.
Yeah.
And listen, the other thing, he's playing with one arm. He is playing with one arm. He's making tackles, and he's getting up like he can't even high-five the other guy with his arm. Like, he is playing, I was going to say short-handed. It's short-armed. Like, he's only got one arm to play with as a tackle. But he had a couple plays where Bo Nix rolled out, and you saw Milano chase him out of bounds on a third down, and you went, that's the Milano that we used to see.
Yeah.
That's the Milano they will need next week, because in years past, he was really good.
Trying to keep my hands down so I don't interrupt with my hands.
Well, also, oh no, go
No,
ahead.
I want your guys' thoughts on Milano's performance.
So Sean McDermott was asked after the game what he's seen, and I think it is an important reminder of Milano had not played football in a long time, and I think we're continuing to see that ramping up. I think ramping up at this point is over, but we're continuing to see him get that feel like himself, be able to have the situational awareness because he's been in situational football, and he just hadn't had that going in a couple weeks ago.
One of the many times I commented in the press box next to Jenna was about that play that Dan is talking about, because sometimes you see the play, and I know you, even on the field, and then you look to see the number.
Yeah.
And it was that speed, and I said to you, man, Milano was fast. Like, he flew in and tracked him down on the sidelines, and they forced a punt, I think, at that point.
Yep.
And when you see that speed, you realize that's why he has been the playmaker that he is. He has that. He has that both when he rushes the quarterback and when he chases sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
Yes, he is hampered physically, but he still has the legs. The legs seem to have recovered from his injury before that.
Yeah.
He will be the biggest key for me next week. We can get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
My one concern, and tell me if you've heard this before, the Bills' defensive line with zero pressure on the quarterback. There was a third down play in the second half. It was the second possession for the Broncos. They got the stop on third down. Bo Nix had so much time in the pocket that he got antsy, assuming that his clock was going up, saying, I'm about to get hit, and then dirted one to Sutton.
He what?
Threw in the dirt. Dirted.
Okay.
What'd you think I said?
Well, I didn't know that was a word, that you dirted the ball.
Grounded, dirted.
Okay. It's fine.
Turfed it?
Now
No,
I understand.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I go, he got so antsy that he's like, well, somebody's about to hit me. No pressure. Massive concern. It's what we have seen. It's what I'm sure people and you guys watching at home screaming at the TV like, where is this?
Yeah.
This has been the Achilles heel for this team in playoffs for the last 4 years. And it was early on before the defense started getting stops. And look, the coverage hasn't been great in the secondary. Do you know what would really help the secondary? Some pressure on the damn quarterback so that he has to get the ball out early. It's very frustrating to me, the lack of, was Vaughn too emotional to sack a Broncos quarterback? Like, it was no pressure at all. Greg Rousseau got one at the end on a coverage sack, but frustrating to no end to me to see the lack of pressure against this offensive line.
And that has been the Achilles heel of this team. And I thought it was a really good point from Bill Cowher on the broadcast for the Texans on Saturday. He said it's your strengths that get you to the playoffs and your weaknesses that get you eliminated from the playoffs.
Cowher.
And I think it perfect.
You could have just stolen that,
Yeah,
and
that
I would
would
have
been
told.
yours. He's never going to know.
He does.
You
doesn't.
steal stuff from us.
Yeah, but
That would have
that's-
been so great. I'm gonna cut that part where you said Bill Cowher said and just be like, "Hey,
Jenna
I heard
said.
this thing." Jenna Cottrell said this.
Yeah, but I think to your point, it is the fact of you want to see that pressure, especially with what's coming into Orchard Park next week.
Yeah, I mean, look, if this team's going to make it to the Super Bowl, it's going to be Lamar and Mahomes. I think everybody believes that, right? That's
Yeah.
how you're going to get to the Super Bowl. Bo Nix is a nice, talented player.
He is.
He's not Lamar and Mahomes. There's the big understatement of the day. So, to Dan's point, you can get by in a game like this. You're not getting by the next 2 weeks.
All right, let's talk about the offense
That's
a
a
little
good
bit.
open.
There's the open. This is
Mentally.
the most disjointed podcast.
Nah, it's good. It's good.
Let's talk about the offense, Mike.
Yeah.
The run game. Actually, Dan.
Yeah, go ahead.
The run game.
Dan has a good point to make.
And that is
Joe Brady.
credit to Joe Brady. This is already my new credit to me. I'll give credit to Joe Brady for sticking with the run game because of, hey, you heard about this Broncos offensive or defensive line and how they can shut them down. The Bills' offensive line, for as poor as I thought the Bills' defensive line played, the Bills' offensive line. And it was that play early on in the second quarter when they just carried James Cook for 15 yards that it was
They
like,
actually dragged him.
it was like, this is pretty cool. Like, that is the attitude that Mike Giardi talked about a few weeks ago, that they have this, we can punk you, that you guys don't want to hang with us, and that we're going to push you, and we're going to push you, and then you're going to break. I loved that intensity against a good defensive line. A couple all-pros on that defense, they played bully ball, and James Cook, for a skinny guy, I keep being surprised by how skinny he is, tough runs.
Yeah.
Inside the tackles. And every time I thought, that's going to go for only 1 yard, he would make it into 4. He'd make it into 5. Instead of -2, it went for +2. That was huge. The Bills weren't in too many first and second long situations, and that's all credit to James Cook.
Just think how good this team could be when they get all pro players on the roster.
How about that?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, none. And Pro Bowl is limited. And you talk about that in the O-line. They were the best. I think they were the best unit
By
on the
far.
field.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really, really good, consistent the entire game. I mean, they didn't score a touchdown on that first drive, but the O-line was good. Took them down the field. Red zone wasn't great. Didn't love the play calling down there. I know they tried to run it a little bit because they wanted to. And then, there was some miscommunication. But once they got going with the passing game, then it was just total domination. 500 yards, 200 on the ground. I mean, it was just it was an awesome effort.
Yeah, and I think you see what we've talked about all year long of just what James Cook can do and what this season has meant to him and just his maturation process and what it means for him to kind of step into this role of being such a great runner and what that just does for the entire Bills offense. And then also having Josh Allen.
How about the emotion from Cook? I've noticed that a lot more this year. He's a quiet guy. There are times we joke around. I think we're talking to some people at the live podcast at Thirsty Turtle, and we're sitting there going like, there are times when it's like James Cook's coming to the podium. It's like, all right, it's a 2-minute podium session. Like he's a man of
He's
few
a quieter
words.
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got some edge on the field. And when I thought back to, Sean McDermott saying, sometimes he slaps my hand pretty hard when he's coming out. Like, you see that anger, a little bit of run. When you see those 7-8 yard runs, he's kind of looking over the sidelines like, again, like, hey, give it to me again. I got this. I love seeing that energy that I didn't see the previous 2 years, whether it's the confidence, whether it's the maturation. James Cook running now in between the tackles. A couple times, it looked like he wanted to bounce it out, and he's like, screw it, I'll get the 3 ugly yards.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to get the 20-yard gain, which could go for -2, I'll get the ugly 3 yards. That's big.
He's a smart football player.
Yeah.
He's a patient runner. He knows what they want out of the offense, and he's tough. He's got a lot of that combination. But go ahead.
No, I think I did the exact same thing to you, and I'm sorry.
She got you.
I think the step we thought Dalton Kincaid would take this year, James Cook took.
That is 100% correct.
That is an astute point.
Wow.
You are on it today.
Okay, now see now.
It's a little pandering.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
Can we talk about Ty Johnson and the play?
Dog.
The whole
Dude.
time on that play, I'm thinking, why didn't Josh just run it? And he's standing there, patting the ball. It felt like he was back. They said it was the longest amount of time for a fourth down pass for a quarterback to throw since they started doing those numbers.
The dots?
It was like 8 seconds.
The dots is
that
so
he's
good.
back there, and those dots were chasing him, and he got hit as he threw it. When he threw it, I swear for a second I thought he was throwing it away. It's like fourth down, and then Ty Johnson makes that play, and credit to Gene Steratore on the broadcast, who was saying, I think it's going to count. I think it's going to stay. It was close to his foot tapping. That's an incredible catch. That's a great catch for a wide receiver, let alone a running back, to stay in bounds. What a massive play that was in the game.
Huge.
Otherwise, you're turning it over to them at 13-7.
Yep.
Instead, it ends up being 21-7.
Yep.
Because you score and then get the 2. Incredible play by Josh, but Ty Johnson has been a revelation for this team coming out of the backfield and making plays.
I asked him a few weeks ago because people are, Josh was saying he's the best third down back in the league. And I kind of asked him, like, is that an insult? It's like, you're the
dig,
bench,
yeah.
you're the best pinch hitter in baseball. It's like, well, you just want to be the best hitter. Like, why do you have to put that? He deserves, if there's another team, to want him to be their feature back or a 1A, 1B. Like, he's earned it. What he's done in the passing game, his pass blocking, it's just been incredible. And I remember when they started using him more last year once Brady took over. Love it.
Yeah. What he has added is just, I mean, they have found what works for them. Oh, are we in the way?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, they are really, they're putting out the chart because there's more football here next week.
Yeah,
So-
let's talk a little bit about that then, because the Bills win this game. They advance on to the divisional round. They're going to be hosting the Ravens here, and
I wish you could see what's going on
It's because
behind.
we're not the only ones out here broadcasting, and it's just kind of funny because
They
I
have
used to
work-
operate a forklift like that in the dairy. Oh, it's dangerous.
Hey guys,
1920.
there's a forklift right over there.
So I just want on the record, the 2 points have been done by these two today. Hand in pocket, hand here, and I have not moved an inch.
I think it was a water bottle.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk Bills Ravens. Sean McDermott said,
Well,
"This is
let's let Sean McDermott
Oh,
say when
yeah.
he was asked about if you weren't a coach in this game. There was the forklift right over there now. It's moved.
3 points.
Sean was asked after the game that if you weren't playing and coaching in this game, would you buy a ticket to watch Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen next weekend?
Yeah, I mean, this is what everyone's been waiting for, right? So it'll be a nice week, and everyone will be looking forward to it. And they're a great football team, right? I mean, they handled us pretty good the first go around, and they're certainly playing well coached. John's won a Super Bowl and comes from great pedigree, so it'll be a big challenge for us.
I'm going to enjoy the win first, but I love playing good-on-good football. We have a lot of competitors on our team, and when juggernauts come into town, or when we go to their spot, the intensity is up, and I love it. I love when the intensity is high. But we'll see them in a week. They're a good team, and we look forward to it.
And Dion was right. I mean, look, it is two tremendous quarterbacks, two outstanding teams. I know the Ravens should, if you're a Ravens fan, you're thinking, we handled them in Baltimore. It was a different game at a different time. They were at home, night game, the whole thing. Bills were a little beaten up. No excuses. They got pounded in that game.
Absolutely.
And they're right away with Derrick Henry. But that being said, it's now the playoffs, and it's here.
Yep.
And I think the way Lamar is playing, you guys all saw him play, the way Josh Allen is playing, this is as good as it gets in the NFL.
I want the Michael Jordan meme of I took that personally. I want to see Josh Allen do that. Not named, all pro, like all those things. I want the MVP discourse. That Josh Allen is fantastic when the lights get brighter.
But I love that I didn't feel like there was any forcing tonight of Josh. I don't think he forced anything, especially the script. The script didn't come out of, hey, the Ravens dismantled the Steelers, who stink. The Steelers stink. Yeah. So I'm not sure what the line is yet. I would imagine the Bills are going to be 2-point favorites.
I heard 1.5 was the early number.
That's what I would imagine. But don't watch that Steelers game too closely. That team has quit and all those things. But I like the fact that it wasn't like, hey, we're going to show them. Josh is going to ball out this postseason. He was still that composed, quarterback that still was smart. Again, I don't remember a negative play. He got sacked once. That's the only thing I could think about with Josh, that everything was precise, on the money. Some of his throws to Ty Johnson and Knox and Kincaid early, just very sharp for Josh.
I thought Dawson Knox made 2 big catches, the 25-yarder and the 20-yarder.
Yeah.
Kincaid did come up with the one, whether it hit the ground or not. And by the way, Sean Payton, I know the game was probably over, but how do you not challenge that play?
Yep.
I mean, your team was done. But regardless of that, the tight ends came through, and we have to say, I'm going to finally get to say this. Credit to me, Curtis Samuel, 55-yard touchdown in the playoffs.
He was just waiting.
They were just waiting for him and Knox and Kincaid for the postseason.
Well, look.
Where's MVS?
He's catching touchdowns with the Saints. Not anymore.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
No, it was nice to see Curtis Samuel, who does have ability. This guy has
Yes.
played well in the league, and he made a play. And it was great. He made an early play for a first down, and then he made that play for a touchdown. Hey, you never know. When Josh Allen's your quarterback, what does Max say all the time? The ball's coming. Play like the ball's coming to you.
Yeah, the play
Dude,
don't care who makes it.
He
Yeah.
did, but he's also said you got to be ready. And in that case, I know. And in that case, come on, I was so conscious of not moving my feet.
It's
in
just
that case,
such a headache editing.
In that case, Curtis Samuel was ready, 55 yards for the touchdown, and the Bills were up 31-7. It was impressive that way. By the way, speaking of Matt Collins, tremendous on the punt. And then the other play, when he did the Iverson step over.
And the Jordan shrug. He hit him with both of them. That was and then Ty Johnson, the shot of me, Ty's pointing at the guy on the ground as Max stepping over him. Like, chef's kiss level of disrespect that you can do up 21.
Yes.
You can do up 21. Do not do that in a one-score game. But, man, also him showing up in the Fred Flintstone costume.
Yeah.
Didn't you say yabba dabba doo?
He said, yabba dabba doo, have a great day, everybody.
They hit on the punt.
He loves a Spirit Halloween. A Spirit Halloween hates to see him coming.
Yes.
The hit on the punt was as good as it gets for a coverage guy.
Yes.
Think about it. That's the guy who leads this team in touchdown catches.
Yep.
And he ran down there and lit him up on the punt. Now, you are right about the other. You're at the 3-yard line. You get a 15-yard penalty. Mac knows he can't do that, but they got away with it in this game. Just don't do it in a closer game. But, yeah, they all made plays today.
Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I think Dan was right. Offensive line, great. I think defensive line needs to be better. I can't wait for the Ravens. It is going to be an incredible game here. I think it's this year the 2 best quarterbacks playing, and I know Burrow put up numbers. The 2 best quarterbacks from this season are playing in this game here between the Bills and the Ravens. They have been the 2 best.
And we'll have plenty more coverage leading into this weekend.
Obviously, we don't know the health of Ray Davis. We hope he's
Yes,
okay.
of
That was
course.
very scary. And I'm glad that Taron Johnson's okay, because lowering your helmet to that level was not how they teach it. And that was scary for a minute, too, when
Yeah.
the guy's laying face down. Luckily, both those guys are okay. Cam Lewis also came back. Josh seemed to lose a tip of his thumb. He got nicked up a little bit on his throwing thumb.
Yeah, he got nicked. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not sure exactly to what extent. Didn't seem to bother him. They still got, he got to rest a little bit, but
On the broadcast, it looked like it was bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something to monitor. Of course, we'll be in Buffalo Orchard Park this week as we lead into the Bills-Ravens game here at Highmark Stadium this weekend. Plenty more coverage on the Buffalo Plus channel. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you next time here. For Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Thank you so much. Also,
playoffs continue.
playoffs continue, and thank you to everyone who came to our live event.
Thirsty Turtle was awesome.
We
It
have
was
more to talk about. We'll talk about a little bit more on Thursday night. We'll
Yeah.
have a chance to talk more about it, but it was awesome. You guys were awesome.
incredible.
And questions for the You Ask, We Answer segment. You can maybe have a couple on here. We'll put up a post. But again, I know some people ask, when do you post those questions?
Yeah,
Feel free to drop questions in there.
All right,
Content all week.
all week. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share again. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Fair.